I've shared a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions on these here apps. I've shared a lot of my perspective, but I think the thing that has absolutely catapulted me is sharing my experiences and becoming vulnerable around those experiences of substance abuse, experiences of sexual assault, things that shaped me, traumatized me, but also things that I overcame and obstacles. My ability to be vulnerable turned out to be my biggest superpower. Look, vulnerability does not mean weak, my nigga. Oftentimes we don't feel advocated for as men when it comes to our mental health, when it comes to our emotions. And I would say the way that we put a stop to that is we start advocating for ourselves. We start caring about these things for ourselves. We don't need outside validation. We don't need validation, even sometimes from within our community, unless that validation is coming directly from us. We have to start holding spaces for each other. We have to start making space for each other. And we have to start dedicating some of our time and effort and energy towards being there for one another in those times and needs of vulnerability. I think oftentimes we're not looking at men and their traumas being the root of the behavior that we see them display today. I think oftentimes we want to throw men away for being grown men and being trash, but we don't look at the roots of those trash behaviors. Hyperviolent men often come from abusive homes. Hypersexual men often were sexually molested or sexually assaulted as a minor. These aren't things that we could just throw away. These aren't things that I'm willing to throw away. And this isn't a group of people that deserves to be thrown away for not having their traumas addressed, not having space to be vulnerable, and not giving time to heal. And this is not an excuse for abusers. This is not abuse sympathy, because I think oftentimes these things take two routes. Either there's people who are going to go out and hurt people because they're hurt, or there's people who's going to take a vow to never hurt anybody because they were hurt. I would like to say I'm a part of the latter, and I would like to assume that most men are a part of the latter, while we get terrible PR for the people that go out and become abusers themselves. But I would like to call in all my men to be more vulnerable in your friend groups. I ain't saying you got to get on a public platform and share your stories. I'm saying that trust within your friend group, trust within your inner circle, that you could be vulnerable with them before you start to feel like I can't be vulnerable with anybody else, or I'm not comfortable sharing these feelings with a woman because it got thrown back in my face. I understand those feelings and those sentiments as well. But if you can't afford to go to talk therapy, you need to be able to trust your inner circle. And one way to building that trust is by being more vulnerable with your friends, being more vulnerable with yourself. But that's just some food for thought, because every nigga deserves grits and eggs.